All right, everyone, another one from our friends at The Atlantic. Those very, very great journalists there, the ones that keep rambling about Trump literally day after day. And by the way, if I'm reaching over here, I'm petting the cat. She's flopped over and she's purring and going crazy. Anyway, The Atlantic now made a new article. And this time, it's not Trump derangement syndrome explicitly, but it is about Trump like everything that they produce, which is now they're encouraging us to get rid of the Nobel Peace Prize. And the idea is, well, the Nobel Committee obviously is a failure because they're nominating Donald Trump. So there's your TDS proportion of the story. I'm just thinking to myself, the Nobel Peace Prize has basically been useless since Obama got it, remember? They literally gave him the Nobel Peace Prize for being elected while black. It's basically why. He hadn't stopped any wars. He hadn't fixed the economy. He hadn't really done anything. Basically, he wasn't George W. Bush, and so people said, they breathed a sigh of relief and said, oh, thank goodness the dark times are over. That's the only reason he got one. We should have stopped having a Nobel Peace Prize then. Years go by, and a bunch more dictators and weirdos win the Peace Prize and win other various prizes. Then Trump dares to be nominated. Oh my God, like that, there was that, Norwegian MP that nominated him. I think another person has put his name forth as well. The idea that he's being seriously considered for the Nobel Peace Prize is fairly low. The UAE-Israel peace deal is a big deal. It is the most meaningful peace deal brokered by the U.S. in several decades, since the Clinton administration. It is significant. Is it deserving of a Nobel Peace Prize? Potentially. You got to weigh it against other potential nominees. For political reasons, are they going to give it to him? Not unless they want to be front page news for a week and have The Atlantic and MSNBC and CNN and The Telegraph and all these others calling them bigots. Now, if they want to be spicy, if the Nobel Committee wants to have even more name recognition, if they want to piss off the whole world, if they just want to rock the boat and say, fuck you, to the entire world that's injecting politics into literally every aspect of life, if they want to go after cancel culture, which is trying to cancel the Peace Prize, they should give it to Trump. Just to troll. And then Trump should troll them and refuse to show up and say, I don't want it. Melt it down and, give the proceeds to cancer kids or something. He should grandstand too. Let's just have a goddamn free-for-all. We're living in clown world anyway. There's no reason not to. For The Atlantic to come out and chastise this, aren't there bigger problems at the moment? Like, communistic rioters, the fact that half of Oregon is burning to the ground, something like 10% of the state is displaced by evacuations, and that's not apparently an exaggeration, due to a prolonged drought and a lot of lightning and, presumably anarchists lighting fires, but we won't talk about that because it's just a conspiracy, says the FBI. Bullshit. Aren't there bigger things to talk about? And to deny the finesse of the Israel-UAE peace deal, of course, is bullshit. It is meaningful. It's one of the main flashpoints in the world. That and really the Korean Peninsula. Those are the two main flashpoints that we have right now. Kind of India and China, I guess along their border, especially triplicate with Pakistan. You got three countries with nuclear weapons, fighting over a particularly juicy parcel of upland. Yeah, that could be a problem. The idea that they're going to nuke each other, I think, is fairly unlikely. Wouldn't that be a bigger thing to write an article about instead of whining about the Nobel Committee? And they've got wide latitude. They can do what they want. This particular committee that's comprised of all of these different people, it's not like there's some litmus test by a government who that they can give the Peace Prize to or something. It's just like Time when they make Person of the Year. Trump's been Person of the Year, I believe. They made Hitler Person of the Year back in the late 30s. It was, interesting. Sometimes these groups draw the ire of others. Well, that's been happening for a long time. By the way, Alfred Nobel wouldn't even recognize the Nobel Peace Prize anymore. It's given to dictators and weird shit like that anyway. Alfred Nobel, initially, he just felt guilty. He wanted to work towards peace and progress in medicine and things like that because he was the inventor of the idea of TNT. And he was like, wow, we're going to save so many lives. People are using this blasting powder shit, and they're blowing themselves up, and it's volatile, and all these railroad workers get killed, and he got tired of it. So he put nitroglycerin into these explosive cylinders that need a blasting cap, by the way, in order to explode generally, unless they're sweating. And he thought, well, this is way safer than black powder. We can do this. You light the fuse, you have time to get away, it's less volatile, you have a lot fewer accidents, you save tens of thousands of lives. Instead, people started blowing each other up with his invention, and he felt really bad about that because he was trying to help, and so the Nobel Peace Prize was formed. I believe I wrote a paper on this back in middle school, if I remember correctly. And I'm hoping I'm getting most of the details correct. Anyway, he wouldn't be in favor of you know, the name of the Peace Prize now. They just give it to some politician. But they gave it to Obama, dude who oversaw tens of thousands of drone deaths. What was the fucking point? All he wasn't George W. Bush. That's the only reason that he got it. It was for political reasons. They wanted to grandstand. Well, the United States finally has a black president, and we have to celebrate this, and nothing will suffice but the Nobel Peace Prize because reasons. They decided to grandstand for political reasons, which tend towards the left-leaning, tend towards the neoliberal, because there's a bunch of scientists and shit. Of course they're going to have skewed beliefs. They're probably not going to give it to Trump. Why is the Atlantic even upset over this? Being nominated for a Peace Prize, my goodness, any person in a national political office in any nation in the world can nominate someone. They can nominate me for the Peace Prize. They can nominate you for the Peace Prize. They can nominate the Atlantic for the Nobel Peace Prize. Not that anyone would be dumb enough to bother doing so. Why should it even be, though, a political issue? It's the whole idea of the Peace Prize is specifically, this is a person who has created peace. I would think that normalization of relations between Israel and the UAE is at least somewhat significant. You can argue whether it deserves being awarded the Peace Prize, but it's certainly a legitimate reason to nominate a person for it. And then the Atlantic gets all salty about that because they don't understand anything about the Nobel Committee and how it functions. That's probably the problem. The writer of this article is just dumb, just ignorant about the entire thing. That's about all. Peace out.